What is up, gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on the channel. So glad to have you guys back on here. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing the 5 temptations that every CEO or any person in a position of authority is going to face, and what these temptations spell in terms of disaster for yourself and the people that you lead down the line. These temptations are taken from Patrick Lencioni's book, The 5 Temptations of a CEO, and are a great example of the temptations that most of us will face. And even if you're not someone who is a CEO or has aspirations to become someone, these temptations are something that we can learn from and we can carry in all aspects of our life. So if you're looking to create better connections, if you're looking to lead yourself and those around you in ways that are more effective, that are more fair, and that allow you to feel and to remain grounded at all times, this video is for you, and this book that I'm going to be mentioning is for you. This position would not exist with such a status if it did not symbolize and did not actually have an important role in any organization. The second that you put the status of your CEO position or your leadership position above the results of your organization is the second that you've lost the script. You no longer are acting in the best interest of the business and the people that you're leading. You're not acting in the best interest of your own ego. Your feedback should always come not in how your ego feels about a decision, but does it affect the results of the business? What you should be monitoring, what you should be looking at all times is, how are my actions? How are my interactions affecting the results that I'm achieving as part of the business? This should be the singular point of contact between you and your business at all times to justify whether a decision is just or unjust. A great way to put this into perspective: imagine the President of the United States of America. Imagine on Inauguration Day, you have a conversation or you interview the President and you ask him, Mr. President, what was the best day of your career thus far? And he says, today. Today was the best day of my career, Inauguration Day. Think about how much that negates the idea of the president, the authority of the president, if the best day in his or her life is the day that they got the position, as opposed to perhaps the things that led up to that, the efforts, the social change, the impact that it was had in the years leading up to the day that has led up to the Inauguration Day. Sure, we should all be proud of the status that we have. And if we've worked hard for it and if we've sacrificed, there's nothing wrong with having a sense of pride. But when you put that pride in front of the results, when you put that pride in front of the actual purpose of that position, then you've completely flipped the script upside down. The second temptation is choosing popularity over accountability. When you choose your own sense of popularity over holding others accountable, you're not doing anyone a favor. You're not doing yourself a favor, and you're definitely not doing the people that are in your care, the people that are under your leadership a favor. Because the need to be liked, though it's a fundamental human need, in business it does not serve a purpose. You've been put in your position of authority because you know how to lead. You've been trusted by your stakeholders, you've been trusted by your founders to lead the company down a path of success. And it is in that leadership that you need to make difficult situations, or you need to make difficult decisions. And sometimes difficult decisions will require you to have conflict with the people that are in your direct command. You have conflict because you are creating opportunities for improvement. You are putting people accountable because you want them to become better. You are laying out all the cards on the table, not because you want to be liked, but because you genuinely want what is best for the organization, and you want to give people the tools, the information that they need, even if that means sitting them down and having difficult conversations. Think about the person that's hired in for a long-term position, and think about this person underperforming over the months. How much of a surprise would it come, and put yourself in that position to yourself, if your boss came in on the last day and told you, listen, you're fired because of XYZ, and they had all of the information? Your first thought process would have been, well, I would have appreciated if you told me. But one of the main reasons that most CEOs will avoid having these difficult conversations with their direct reports is not because of a niceness, but because of a fear of being disliked. If you're unable to sit someone down and to tell them, this is what you're doing and this is what you're doing wrong, then how can you expect improvement? People are not mind readers. They're unable to know your expectations if you haven't articulated them and set them out for them in stone with immense clarity. So put your own ego aside, put your own need to be liked aside, and give people the difficult feedback that they need. Number 3 is choosing certainty over clarity. Your position as a CEO or anyone in a position of authority will require you to make difficult decisions on limited information. This is where your gut instinct, this is where your intuition, your ability to make effective decisions and to bear the consequences if they turn out negatively comes into play. And most likely if you're a CEO or someone in a position of authority, you have an analytical mind. You have a logical mind that likes to take in data, to chop it up, and to analyze it to no end. And though some set or some level of analysis is necessary in your business, over-analysis leads to paralysis, which leads to a lack of movement. And if you're static in business, not only will your organization start to wither, but your competitors and those around you will catch up and overtake you. You need to be fierce and strong with the decisions you take, and you need to be willing to accept the consequences if you make an incorrect decision. You build up your intuition as you move along, as you gain more experience, as you take decisions over and over again. You learn what works and what doesn't work, but choosing to wait time and time again for the right moment, for the right information, for the right person to make a key decision harms you and harms everyone in your organization, because it makes you slow, it makes you unreactive, and it makes you unable to take action to lead the organization by the horns and actively move it towards the end result. Number 4 is choosing harmony over conflict. Conflict is such an ugly word, right? When we hear conflict, we think of people beating each other upside the heads with a bat. We think of a negative and very, very sort of visceral experience. But conflict is necessary in any organization, because the overuse of harmony means that people are unwilling and unable to speak their mind because of this need, this unspoken need to continuously maintain harmony. Your position as a CEO will expose you to many people, all of which have different mindsets and different points of view that they can share with you. If you're in a meeting and the only opinion that matters is that of your own, and people are unwilling to speak or even unwilling to debate between themselves because of a need to maintain harmony, what you're getting is a completely filtered version of their opinions, their thoughts, and the unique things that they can bring to the table. So if you find your meetings as a peaceful setting where everyone is just in decorum the whole time and there is no real discussion around how the company can be improved, how things can be done better, if people are unwilling to give their suggestions because of a fear of having that discord, of having that continuous back and forth, or maybe sometimes even getting heated, then you'll find people that are unwilling to give their true gifts and to give their 100% self because of that need to maintain harmony at all times. Last but not least is choosing to be invulnerable as opposed to choosing to be trusting. What does it mean to trust someone else? That means to allow them the space to potentially inflict damage on you. When you trust someone, and if you think about the biggest trust exercise that they teach us when we're young in school, which is two people in a pair, one person has their back to the other person and they fall backwards towards the other person. This is a fundamental way that teaches us the importance of putting your safety in the hands of someone else. By turning your back and by falling backwards towards them where you expect them to pick you up, this is a form of vulnerability. That vulnerability comes with trust. When you are unwilling to be vulnerable with the people that you are around, it doesn't mean to spill your heart out or to spill your guts out. It means to be able to give them the space to make key decisions on certain tasks, to move the projects forward, to move the organization forward, and to be willing in some scenarios to have that come up short. And this comes back to number 2. If you're avoiding temptation number 2, it means that you're willing to hold people accountable for their shortcomings. So you're trusting them, but in the event of a lack of trust or misplaced trust, you're willing and ready to have that difficult conversation to hold people accountable for their shortcomings. So this is where everything starts to play into together. Some of these temptations play into one another, and having any one of these temptations can lead to other temptations. So being in a position of authority doesn't mean to be bulletproof, to be solid at all times. It means to open yourself up to criticism, to open yourself up to challenging beliefs, to open yourself up to potentially having your trust misplaced at one point or another and learning from that and becoming better because of that. Because when you give people the gift of your trust, they have two options. Either they're going to take that gift and they're going to make everything that they can of it, or they're going to return that gift back to you and you can give it to someone else. But all roads lead to the consistent sense of trust and giving people the trust and allowing them to keep it once they've earned it.